In this video, we're going to go over how we store common items, just our overall storage solution, which is going to include the cabinet on the front by the door, the kitchen cabinet, as well as the storage shelf that's up here at the top of the cabin. And then we're also going to get into what the storage situation looks like behind the front wall. So let's go take a look. So we'll start off with the shelving system that's up here on the top of the wall in the cabin. This is just going to be common board. All we did was we took some common board, which is the same stuff that we use on the fender on the outside, just beat it up a little bit, gave it some texture, and then stained it. Brackets, these came from Amazon, so readily available. Very simple, easy solution. And this was supposed to be a temporary solution. Obviously, here we are 3 years later, not so temporary. Originally, I wanted to put some nice cabinetry up here, and that's partially the reason why we never finished the transition from the wall to the ceiling. It's because I wanted to put some cabinets and seal up that gap. Obviously, that did not happen, and with the new trailer, we're going to pursue trying to put some cabinets up on the wall just so we can have a little bit better storage. But for this might work for some people. We just use nice little boxes right here, paracord to keep it in place. Fairly flexible, so you can easily pull this down, pull a box out if you're on the side of the road. And of course, if we're at camp for more than just a couple days, we'll actually take the paracord off, and these will just sit, of course, on top of the shelf. But overall, it's worked out great for us. We just labeled them for, we got one for the dog, one for me, one for the kids, one for the wife, cosmetics, fire, and tech stuff, your charge cables and whatnot. Overall, works pretty good. Pretty satisfied with it, but if I could do it all over again, I would definitely try to put some cabinetry up there, sliding doors of some sort, just to have a little bit better organization. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. So with that, let's go take a look at this cabinet. All right, so this cabinet that's by the front door right here, this is not original to the original build out of the trailer. Originally, we had the butcher block top here, but we had a different cabinet on the bottom. So that cabinet on the bottom was very open, kind of hard to use. It didn't really secure too many items very well. We just found out that we just needed overall more storage. So we went to IKEA and we got this cabinet, and then we put a butcher block top right on top. So it dresses up very well. However, they did not have white in stock. This is during COVID times. Limited availability, so I ended up painting it white and originally gray. So not too thrilled with the outcome, but it was a very budget-friendly solution, something that actually worked and fit our needs right away until we can get a little bit more permanent solution. So not thrilled with the outcome of that, but it does serve its purpose. For those of you that are curious at what we actually keep in this thing, there you go. Got a coffee maker, some essentials, cleaning supplies, crock pot, hot water maker, and we needed just that little bit of extra storage. On our next trailer here, I don't think we're going to do a cabinet like that again. I have plans to build some sort of shelf system above the bunks on this side over here, which will give us a little bit more floor space, but overall, not a bad solution. And if you're crafty enough, you could definitely just take something basic, throw a nice countertop on there, and you actually have something decent. So we'll move on to the kitchen area. So like I said, this is not original to the original build out. This came about 1.5 years after the fact. This is just a typical cabinet painted white from Home Depot. I believe it's about $300 or $400 for that cabinet. Plug and play, literally just put it into the trailer, mount it, take your butcher block countertop, just mount it on top, and it's good to go. So we did add some hardware here just to give it a nice little unique twist with custom engravings on there. But overall, just what you would expect from any typical kitchen cabinet. Build quality is very well. No complaints with that. We use magnets to secure the drawer. So we got a magnet right here, one in the center, and then one on the other side over there. That keeps this drawer from sliding out when we're driving down the road. And then on the inside of this cabinet, we have these little stoppers here that go into these little ball bearings. Locks in place. But nothing too drastic. Like I said, you're just your typical cabinet from Home Depot. You can get them in various sizes and works out well for us. This is where we keep all of our cooking supplies, pots and pans, plates. And then we also have the power distribution center down there, as well as the EcoFlow, at least one of the EcoFlows, and then cleaning supplies. And of course, with the countertops, we decided to go with a butcher block countertop. We were a little concerned about weight, but at the same time, we also weren't. We just wanted something that was strong, durable, and would naturally wear. And after 3.5 years, this is turning out to be a very, very beautiful piece. So holding up very well, just a simple stain on there. And then we use butcher block conditioner with a little bit of a beeswax mixed in just to give a little bit of shine and water protection. Holding up very well. So I always try to make best use of our space. So we did have a little bit of a space gap here with this specific mini fridge. So I ended up cutting out a thin piece of 1/4 inch just to give me a little bit of a stopper. And this is actually where we store our trays. So we get these trays from IKEA. They're $1 a piece. Very easy to clean. You can put your food on there, take it out to people. Just a really nice serving tray, or you could use it as a plate, which is typically what we do with some butcher paper. And just making use of all the space that you have available. And we also got some hot dog sticks back there as well. But anytime that you have space like that, try to find a use for it, because you'll be surprised at what you can actually store in there and make work. And it just frees up and makes everything a lot easier. So you don't have to move 2 items just to get to 1. And the last thing, definitely something to consider if you're looking for a way to secure your fridge. I ended up cutting this bracket right here that screws into the factory holes. So most fridges, you can adjust the door hinge from one side to the other. So on the opening side, it's going to be open. I just put in 2 screws, cut a hole out for a pin. So now when we drive down the road, we can lock it in place with a simple pin. And then when we're at camp, we just put our pin right there. That way we can open up the fridge, close it as needed. And that's a great way to secure your fridge while you drive down the road. So I forgot to mention this when I was filming earlier today. The other reason why we like to have this piece installed in the fridge is because when we get done camping, we typically obviously take everything out and the fridge is usually disconnected. And we all know that, of course, if it's turned off and the door is closed, usually some nasty stuff starts going on in there. It gets stinky, maybe moldy, depending on how much water content was in there. So to fix that problem, obviously we have this to lock it whenever we're traveling, going down the road, but also when we're in storage mode, we just drop the pin right there, put the door up. It's not going to be able to close fully. You're still going to have a little bit of an air gap right there. So that way, next time you go to use the fridge, it'll be nice and perfect for you. All right, let's take a look at the storage solution back behind the wall. We're going to start off with the left side, and then we'll work our way to the right. All right, so this cabinet storage solution here, I built this out of common plywood, and I wanted to make the most use of the space because we don't have too much room behind this wall. And it goes all the way down pretty much to the floor. The diesel heater, which is also an afterthought, lives underneath that cabinet. So a really good example of making the most use out of your space is that we know that we use these water jugs quite a lot. Pretty much every trip we stop at a grocery store, we get one of these and then a traditional water jug. We cut a hole up the top here so we can get some airflow in there. And then of course we also use this to refill as we need for that specific trip. So a really good use space. We push it back there when we're in travel mode. At camp, pull it out a little bit, and we have easy access to water. These storage bins right here, these are from IKEA. IKEA does sell a storage solution, which is the same exact concept. That's how we came up with this idea. These bins are amazing. So we'll take a couple of these bins out, take them into the house, fill them up with all the dry food, all the snacks, everything we need. We already know this is our limit, and fill it up, stack it up nice, bring it out to the trailer. It's got a place to live. We don't overfill the trailer. We don't bring too much stuff that we don't need. And it's just a great system to be able to pull these bins out, fill them up, bring them out to the trailer, and you're never going to be searching for, putting granola bars in random spots. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't ship. First aid kit. We love these Pelican cases. So we just built our own first aid kits. But these storage compartments, we just put a little lip on there, and we just have general use space. So of course you just kind of fill it up with items as you need. We have extra utensils up here, typically our foil and our slow cooker bags, soap for the bathroom. Down here we have a slot for paper towels, liquor, toilet paper, a couple other cleaning supplies, and some open storage space. So overall, pretty good system there. There's definitely things I would change, but hopefully this gives you an idea of kind of what to look for, and maybe you could build something similar to that, because at the end of the day, you want to have the most use of space and something that's functional and usable. So on the unfinished wall side, we have just a couple hooks here for some LED lanterns, headlamps, cargo securement, display for the diesel heater, a couple safety items, and then we have, of course, our LED light strip that comes down, which is tied into the LED strip underneath on that wall side. A lot of this stuff was after the fact. You just add it as you go on down the road, and unfinished, like I said, not my best work, but this is how you learn. So nothing too exciting on this side. What is exciting is right down here. So this is a cassette toilet. We get about 4 days from 2 adults. You can dump this in a porta potty. You could dump it in a vault toilet. You could dump it at a dump station, or if you need to, you could dump it at your house. Fantastic system. So super easy to dispose of, and it just works. So this is going to be, I believe, the 5-gallon version. So it sits up a little bit higher, but overall, I wish I had that in my work truck back in the day when I traveled a lot. I could fit in the back of my crew cab truck. That is definitely the way to go. So cassette toilets, thumbs up for me. I didn't know about diesel heaters when I built this trailer out. Otherwise, that diesel heater that kind of lives underneath the cabinet behind the toilet there, that would actually be installed a lot better. But being that I didn't know what exactly it was, or even considered it when I was building out the trailer, it came as an afterthought. But that diesel heater, tell you what, that is the way to get dry heat. Typically, obviously we have the diesel heater on when it's cool out, but we'll put some of our wet clothes, our coats, some of our shoes, items like that. We'll put them in this little area here, because we do get warmth throughout the cabin, but putting your wet stuff up there, especially with the heat coming off of there, dries out those items super quick. So on this front wall right here, as you can see, we have our camp chairs. I mentioned in my other video that what I love to do is I love to drop the deck, and I love to sit on the deck and enjoy the view without having to go outside and step in the dirt. If the dirt is wet, moist, whatever, it just gets on your shoes, it cakes up, it gets on the deck, it gets inside the cabin. So if I could drop the deck from the inside, put my chair out there, and not have to get on the wet ground, that's just for me. So with that said, it was very important that we have our camp chairs mounted inside the trailer. Plus, on top of that, it's a dedicated space for those chairs. They're not living in the truck. They're not kind of hanging out somewhere. They just have a dedicated place that they live. These are from REI. They do have a little back strap so you can carry them like a backpack, but that occupies that space there. And we just simply use the factory securements there just to hold those down. And then we do have a worm down here to keep it from coming off that wall and flopping around. But other than that, great use of space right there. We're still able to open up the door for the closet, but definitely recommend having chairs that are just dedicated spot within the trailer. Blackstone, if you got a griddle, you know. That was a very convenient spot to put that. It did used to live in the cabinet system, or down below, I believe, when we had the original cabinet. Obviously with the new cabinet, didn't work out too well, just kind of took up a little bit too much bulky space. So now it just lives right here at the front. I wish I had a better spot for it, but again, it just needs to have a dedicated space where it lives, and this seems to be working out just fine in this particular setup. We have additional storage on the side of the closet here. That's where we keep the camp table, and then we have our feeding tables for the twins. So curves in a little bit from the front of the trailer. It's got a little bit of a curve to it, so it's wider in the front, narrow in the back, but it's just enough, at least in this case. Obviously I could build this out a lot better, but given the time frames and the constraints, this is how we ended up with this setup. And last but not least, the closet. So this is a closet that we got from IKEA. I believe it's a 19-inch wide. And you can configure these with shelving. You can get them with pull-out drawers. Just however you want to have it set up. So ours we have set up where hanging clothes on the bottom, pull-out drawers for the missus and I, and then we have dedicated shelves here, which is now being taken over by the twin boys. But overall, for a very easy, simple solution that you could just build, slap it into the trailer, it's definitely a great way to go. Just adds a lot of functionality to the space with minimal effort as far as getting everything all lined up. And of course, with the temperature swings and the moisture and all that you might have in a trailer, being that it is IKEA, it's actually holding up really, really well. So I think on our next trailer here, I might try to salvage some of these pieces, but yeah, just a fantastic solution with a pre-made closet system wardrobe from IKEA. So to make the best use of the space here, we found these buckets from IKEA. I think we got these for something completely different, but they ended up working out really well. And of course, in the mixture of everything, they just ended up here. They carry spare parts, just random items, binoculars, things like that. And we just make use of whatever space that we have available. And it really gives you an idea, especially when you have a trailer for this long. You know, you start thinking about what you're going to do in the next trailer, what you could do better. And I think we definitely nailed what we want, what we don't want. Because just looking at this, I personally think everything needs to have a place to live. Everything needs to have a dedicated spot. So we'll do better on the next one. So that's the storage solutions that we have within this trailer. Hopefully you gathered some ideas and learned from our mistakes of kind of how we have our setup and some things that I would change and do differently. But if you have any questions that you want to know anything more about this build, leave a comment down below and we'll be sure to add it to the build series.